What's your thoughts on your in-laws moving in with you when they're too old to take care of themselves? We had to move my mill in suddenly because it was apparent that she couldn't manage alone, and rather than call us, a well-meaning neighbor called adult services. It was hell. She didn't want to be here. She wanted to be with her daughter, who absolutely refused to take her. That didn't stop her from harassing me every stinking month for a full report of how her mother's money was being used. My mother had just died, and I was exhausted from having cared for her in her own home, settling her estate and selling the house. If there is any way to find safe senior living, that is the most sustainable situation. I don't have in-laws, but my parents know that it's just not possible. I'm not moving back to their area, and there's no bathroom downstairs anyway, and my home is too small, plus I'm unable to look after anyone with my illness. I may consider a Golden Girls type situation in the future if my mom and I both find ourselves widowed plus my best friend. Then I could see me having a home and pooling resources. Everyone having their own space but being able to help each other out. But it's not for sole purpose of caregiving. It's just not possible for any of us. Nope. I've watched family members attempt to care for aging parents and relatives at home and not having the right knowledge or skill set or patience to do that. Or frankly the time. Caring for an elderly relative, depending on what's going on, is super time consuming between appointments or just generally assisting them getting around. Getting dressed, showered, etc. Cooking, cleaning. That's a whole fucking job. And I already have full-time job and would not be able to show up 100% in all the ways I would need to in order to care for them properly. Is it okay that I'm not having sex regularly with my girlfriend? It's more important if you and your girlfriend are okay with it. Is it okay? If you're both happy with it, then yes. It's honestly not a good sign though. Are you absolutely sure there aren't other factors at play here? Yes, it's okay for you and her. However, you need to talk about it properly with her, because okay and perfect are not the same thing, and obviously you don't consider the situation perfect. Only thing that matters is what you and your girlfriend want. If this works for you, there is no reason to change. If that works for you guys, then you're fine. The problem arises when one person wants more than what the other is able/willing to provide. Everyone has a different level of needs. You guys seem to be on the very laid back and casual side of things, which is perfectly fine. You've got nothing to worry about. If you are both happy with the amount, then it's perfectly fine. If you feel like something is wrong, I would encourage you to explore the origin of that. Is it an ego thing with a number that can be overcome, or is there a deeper compatibility issue in the relationship? Resolve this feeling before making any further commitments. Engagement, marriage, kids, etc. Greater than we've talked about it multiple times, and we both don't feel neglected or anything. And we find intimacy through cuddles and quality time. No issue at all then. As long as you talk about it every so often so you're both on the same page still, then it's fine. Communication is key. If you've talked about it and everyone involved is okay with how things are, then there's no problem. You have fallen into a groove that everyone is content with, so no need to worry. If you want / to be having more sex, then you need to have that conversation in a very open way. But if you just feel like you should be / having more sex because society says so, then you're fine. How to love yourself. Believe her and love her back. Stop looking in the mirror and look into her eyes. A man should see the value in what they do, not how they look. Charles Bukowski, Google him, was one of the ugliest humans that ever lived. He was afflicted by cystic acne from puberty and throughout most of his life. His face, chest and back were covered in huge boils, and there was nothing doctors could do for him back in those days. He devoted his life to drinking, fighting and writing, and was famous enough by the 60s that hot women were flying from all over the world to fuck him. The moral of the story is that it doesn't matter how you look. Show the world what you can do and nothing else matters. I'm on the same page as you. But no GF to build me up. Whenever I get compliments from my family on what I made or how I look, I can't help but find everything wrong about it in an irrational attempt to confirm that it's actually crap. And in the end, I'm off worse mentally than I was before. If I'm not mistaken, that's called an inferiority complex and driven by a warped mental image combined with confirmation bias. Maybe it's best to say to yourself, Teresa, reason she's with me and not the next guy, and I have two approaches for you. 1. Reparenting yourself. Change your self-talk. Treat yourself like you would your son. If you fail at something, don't beat yourself up about it. Speak to your internal self like you're speaking to you as a kid. It's okay, buddy. We all fail sometimes. The important part is getting back up and try again. And 2. Meta meditation. The Waking Up app is free upon request and has a great training on meta meditation. You imagine someone you love and who you want the best for. You feel all that love you have for them, and then you think about yourself and you try to transfer that feeling of love over to yourself. Get overcome with really violent thoughts sometimes? That was me throughout high school, especially 11th grade, and 8th grade. Today it doesn't happen that often. But it will happen every now and then during a depressing part of my life. In what sense? Also yes, I do. In the sense that I dislike other people. The thoughts are generally consistent and not in brief episodes, like what Op seems to describe, but generally less intense. Hell yeah. I've imagined people getting smacked in the head with shovels and stomping and shoe scrunching people's fingers against pavement. They never occur at all unless somebody cuts me off in traffic. At that point, I will scorch a continent to find you. What are the best mindfuck movies? Perfect Blue comes to mind. Anime that focuses on how technology has changed the way we view ourselves and the personas we create for others. The Cell. Now, if you were to ask me about plot twists, the top 5 are, say 7N, Identity, Shutter Island, The Secret Window, Fight Club. Though Frailty was also a great plot twist. Arrival for me. I figured out what was happening about 30 seconds before the film revealed it, and it hit me like a ton of bricks when it was confirmed. Devastating and inspiring all at once. Cinedoche. New York, 2008. I'm Thinking About Ending Things, 2020. Written and directed by Charlie Kaufman. Best known for writing other mindfuck movies, being John Malkovich. Adaptation. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. The movie titled, I'm Thinking of Ending Things. Not for everybody. And you might have to look online after the movie to understand WTF happened. But if you have the patience and like something deep and cerebral, check it. Edited as requested. Sorry to alarm anyone. Here are some classic examples that I could readily find online on either Vimeo or YouTube. I originally provided links for each, but as some of the content is NSFW/triggering, I decided to err on the side of caution and simply compile them as a list. Last Year at Marienbad, René. 1961. Hour of the Wolf, Bergman. 1968. Alice, Schavankmeyer. 1988. Meshes of the Afternoon, Darren. 1943. La Jetée, Marker. 1962. Felix in Exile. Kentridge. 1994.